Hello, everyone. How's it going? My name is Truk. Alongside of me is Marxist, and we have Sam on production. And this is day 2, the final day of the FACEIT 2500 Grand Tournament here. We got the semifinals and finals of this tournament coming up, Marxist. Who do we got for our first match coming up here in a couple minutes?
So we have EVL, who pretty much, if you're familiar with the Invite TF2 scene, you should know who they are, and the Invite Rejects, who are a team made specifically for this tournament, and they have done quite well for themselves. So we'll see how they can handle a more regular team. One of our fixtures here.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I was surprised that Rat came out on top so convincingly. Their roster is very strong. They are the Invite Rejects. It's actually quite interesting to see that Rat is playing up against EVL because EVL was most of Rat's player sponsor last season. If we can go out on the rosters real quick, on Rat, we got Rakuso, Vand, both of which were not on EVL last season, but the other four were Scissor, Zilly, Sen, and Delpo. All were from EVL last season. They took a break from Invite, and now they're back in this tournament, rolling right through. I don't think they've dropped around.
Yep,
or a map, rather.
yeah. Well, rounds maps, they're the same thing for these purposes. And then over on EVL, you have all the typical types, I believe. You've got Slemnish and Dingo and Badonsky, Rando, Garbuglio, aka Purple Shirt, all the regular crew.
And this should be a good matchup because I know a lot of these players are at least acquainted with each other. Garbuglio obviously was on EVL last season and has switched over to the new EVL this season, so he's definitely acquainted with the Rat Squad, the Invite Rejects. So it should be a good match. I think the overall skill level of this game is the highest we've casted so far of just raw talent individually.
Well, as we get our way towards the championship, that you would hope that would be the case. We didn't have any big meetings early that really destroyed people's hopes, except for maybe Circa probably did not expect to lose to the Invite Rejects coming through their bracket as solidly as they did. And they are gone here today. They were casted last night. I imagine that match will be on YouTube and in the Twitch VOD system if you missed it and you have an axe to grind.
I think, Marxist, as we were yapping away here, I think the teams have picked and banned maps. I only saw that Badlands was one of the maps that was picked. This is obviously a best of 3 tournament, and we will probably be joining a server soon since the pick and ban stage of this current match is done. These players should be joining up a server. It looks like, according to the website, a server is up, so we should be getting the STV shortly and getting this show right on the road.
Yep, if you like Badlands, you've seen a lot of it so far, and that's mainly because I don't think any team playing this game would ban Badlands unless they knew something about the other team. Like maybe their demo had Duatna disorder, where they just do spectacularly well on Badlands.
All right, so sorry to interrupt, but I'm getting some intel from Rando, the pocket of EVL. He says it's Badlands, Gully, and Sunshine in that order. So Sunshine is the tiebreaker. This is a best of 3 single elimination. So whoever wins this game goes to the grand finals. Whoever loses is out in 4th place. And we got an STV as well. Shout out to Corn Pop with the hookups all weekend here.
Oh, we've got it too.
So we're joining the server. So Marxist, what are your thoughts coming into this game? I personally think that EVL has the advantage judging by, I think their individual skill is a little bit higher, and obviously they've been performing quite well throughout the past season of ESEA.
Yeah, they've been on a streak here for 5 or 6 seasons of being really strong, even though the roster has changed periodically. They are still doing quite well this season. They have bested Bird Noises in the past, and other teams like that are fairly strong as well. That I would say the Rejects probably line up fairly well with. But you never know. The Rejects did take down Circa, which is one of my favorite teams in Invite right now. So they could just be super strong and want to take their shots at it after being rejected.
I guess. Yeah, they label themselves as invite rejects, but this team is an invite caliber team. If they signed up an invite roster, they surely would be accepted. But another interesting storyline behind this Rat squad for me is that if they do really well in this tournament, if they win and go to the finals, do we have a potential new team on our hands?
Well, you would hope so, because they would win more prize money if they stuck together and played in the season. That's not a slight to FACEIT by any means, but you would figure, being a full-time team, you would rack up some more of that prize money, especially if you could make it to the championship in your first run.
Yeah, and some of the interesting things for Slyn and I when we first casted the invite rejects is Zilly. We assumed that Van would be pocket and Zilly would be medic since I've only seen Zilly play medic up until yesterday. And Zilly, he played all the classes. He's currently pocketing for his team, but he's switching up to spy, making the plays, and obviously doing work as soldier as well. And it's been quite interesting to see a player with such dynamic capabilities.
Well, he's playing that flex position, apparently. We haven't
Yeah.
had a true flex player in a long time. So that's cool, and probably gets out some of those bad feelings that playing medic all the time can give you. Maybe he's decided to curse Van with that for the time being. It's always good for a pocket player to play some medic so that they can feel a different kind of misery.
And already we got 12 players in the server, and we should be starting soon here. Do you have any predictions, Marxist, for this matchup? It is a best of three. I guess we can just start off for the Badlands prediction. Who do you got on this map?
I would give EVL this map here. Probably because they've all played Badlands a lot more. EVL also has played Badlands a lot more as a team. Typically in the preseason, you play this map like 1,000 times at least. So they've had a lot of experience here. The Rejects may not together, although they do have 3 players that are linked together. I would say it gets better for the Rejects as we go through the pool, especially on Sunshine.
Yeah, they really did well on Sunshine last night versus Circa. And for me, the highlights of this match is just that all 4 of the scouts are just ridiculous. We got Scissor and Sen on invite rejects, and of course the Wombo combo Slemnish and Yams dominating the invite scene this second half of the ESCA season, just crushing, especially Yams. I think he's the best scout in the world right now. He is unbelievable. I don't know if Rat is going to be able to tame him, but if they can, I think they can pull this out. But I agree with you, Marxist. I'm going to give EVL the edge in this map at least.
Yeah, and we're just ticking the time down here. We got about 11 minutes, it says, on our little timer. I don't know if they can start earlier than that or not. I don't believe they can. But you never know. This is a new system. We're still learning it.
We're getting some word from our producer here that I believe they just have to ready up and then they're ready to go. But if that's not the case, we got 10 minutes. I highly doubt the timer has to tick all the way down for the game to start. Just players are getting adjusted. It is a high-level game. It is a very important game. There is money on the line. Both these teams most definitely want to make it to the finals. And yeah, they're probably getting their gamer gear set up properly.
You gotta make sure all the little crumbs and whatnot are off your mouse pad for maximal movement. Especially since most of the scout players play on 0 sensitivity, so they've got to move their whole arm all the way across their desk to get any sort of response.
Yeah, you got to take the dumbbells off your mouse pad and free up some room for the games. Um, but any standout players? Who do you think the standout players are? I mentioned that the scouts in this matchup are relatively even across the board. It should be a treat to watch. But who do you got on either team, Marxist?
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And we have seen, especially last season, we saw Yomps go absolutely huge a few times. But he's not going to get his viaduct here. So that's one upside for the rats, as it were. But I would like to look at Delpo as well. Delpo's done pretty good. Kind of flew under the radar a lot of the time that he was around more regularly. But I like Delpo. He's pretty cool. I have a special connection to Scissor because when Scissor was but a new, never before played in ESCA person, he asked me to review a demo of his, and I did. And we talked a bit, and now look what happened.
Marxist grooming future players, and now they're here. And I think another thing to note that we saw yesterday is the shotgun roamer coming out of Rakuso, and it worked pretty well. It's an incredibly rare sight. Ever since the gunboats were introduced to TF2, roamers have most definitely stayed towards the gunboats loadout, but he's been opting to use the shotgun so far this tournament, and they're winning games.
Yeah, it really depends on the map for me as to which is the best, but it looks like we are getting started. I hope to see a shotgun roamer. That would make my day.
Well, he is wearing the gunboats right now, but we are rolling out to the first mid of this first best of three. This is the semifinals of the $2,500 tournament for FACEIT here, as teams are battling on each side. Garbuglio's walking through the enemy house, and he's going to hit some rockets, but get launched straight up in the air. He gets taken out by Sen, but takes down Delpo. Zilly is exchanged immediately after, but both soldiers bomb the medic of EVL, and he is dead. Rakuso is still in behind. He's fighting Slumnish in the enemy house. Can he get out? He's just being an absolute nuisance as the fight continues at mid. It looks like, despite everything, EVL is going to win mid, and Yomps, Marxist, is tagged as Ascent Yomps.
Yeah. Things happen with the HUDs here on this, because my HUD actually has no tags whatsoever, so maybe it depends on when you join in, but we should be seeing an Uber come through right now, and they are going out of the tiny door in the house. It's popped straight away.
Oh no, Zilly goes in and just hits two nice rockets on to the EVL medic, and that's going to open up mid for his team. Vand is going to have a pretty significant advantage to work with, and they're taking it all the way through choke. They're trying to pinch Slevnish in the flank area, and look at where all the EVL players are. They're just in their forward spawn. They're not going to be able to defend Spire from where they're standing, and they're going to have to just give it up.
Yep, then we're going to see a quick cap of second here. A really great push. The EVL was standing way too close to the choke. Given the situation, I don't really know what their plan was there, but now they're just going to build on top of Spire, are the rats, and they will get ready to push in once they've got it. We do see a standard forward hold coming from EVL. It'll be interesting to see how they try to break this, because it is buying them a lot of time.
Yeah, and they're probably going to be able to get their Uber Dingo at a slight Uber disadvantage, but the forward hold allowing him to back up, get that Uber, and if Van doesn't go soon, he's going to be running into an Uber. Yeah, Dingo does have his Uber, so here they come. They're Ubering right into the enemy Uber, and they're met with Yomps Pyro, and they're not really getting much done. Rando getting popped on, hitting a nice rocket, shooting some shotgun shots at Scissor. Scissor super low. He's on to Delpo as well. Rando just relentless, pushing forward. Rakuso does get Garbuglio, but goes down as well. His pocket, Zilly, is down. They have no medics, or excuse me, they have no soldiers. Rat... And they're going to lose their scout as well. There's no way they're going to be able to defend Spire, and they're going to have to back out to mid here.
Yeah, and we already see an off-class coming out in Sen, standing at mid. Wants to put a stop to this roll that we've got started up, kill that momentum, and get back to middle. You want to grab every round that you can, and you do not want to give up your advanced spawn timer for holding mid. Zilly in trouble in the house. But they're going to kill Rando and Yomps as Rakuso comes in there to help out. And now Garbuglio is going to go down as well. 3K and maybe more.
Yeah, Rakusa going huge. Zilly in behind. Slemnish takes him out, but Sen on that sniper takes down Badonsky, and Slemnish is the only remaining player alive for EVL. And I did rejoin the server to try to get some tags, but it doesn't look like there are any tags for these players, so we're going to have to work with that. This counter sniper in, I believe that is Slemnish, is going to try to take down Sen, but they're going to be Ubering in, take down the Pyro, take down the Pocket Soldier, and Scissor's getting right onto the point. There's stickies raining down upon it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Rakuso jumps down onto the point, loses his life, but it's for the better good. Rat up 1-0 early in this game.
Yeah, the Rats got that easy kill there on the flank. I don't know what EVL was trying to do, and it just rolled them straight to last off of it. We have the first round going to the Rats, the upstarts, the invite rejects, taking it off of the invite establishment.
Yeah, they're kind of throwing NATF2 on its own head here as we enter the second mid. Badonsky doing a lot of damage to Delpo, getting very aggressive across the point. Everybody else on EVL is pushing lower. Yamps goes underneath, takes down Dingo. Both scouts in their own house, very hurt for Rat. They're converging on the point, getting some frags as they push forward, and Badonsky destroys Sen and Scissor with a single pipe, and that is a convincing mid win for EVL.
Yeah, Badonsky went absolutely huge that mid. Not only did he kill both scouts at the end with a pipe, essentially, but he locked out most of the rejects as they were trying to get up the slope. There were 3 of them trapped down there by sticky spam, and they just never came to mid.
Yeah, and Rat is forced to do the Highlander defense. They got the Engineer, they got the Heavy. The Engi's building away. He should be able to get up to level 3. He does. So they have that 7th player on the map, but it's getting spammed out right now. Zilly's shooting away with that Rescue Ranger, hammering away at the Sentry Gun as well to keep it alive. Here comes Yamps with that Uber. They're taking in Badonsky as well. Sentry down, Heavy down. They got this top left control. Can they get the rest of the frags they need to secure this round? It looks like they're going to, taking out both soldiers, just Scissor and Van alive. Scissor goes down, Van falling right after, and EVL coming back very quickly. We have a tie game here, Marxist.
Yeah, for EVL, you like to get around that quickly again. You don't want the rejects to start feeling themselves, as it were, and think they've really got this game in the bag here. So this next mid's going to be really important, probably for the morale of both teams to figure out what's going to go on for the rest of this.
Yeah, as time ticks away here, we have 23 minutes left in this first map here, and it looks like Yams is opting to stay through this lower area, doing a lot of damage to Scissor. Garbuglio cleaning up his scouts' damage. Yams just wreaking havoc in this lower area. Zilly goes down as well. Sen on top of Dingo takes Dingo down, and Delpo is the only remaining survivor of Rat. And I don't think he's going to be able to do much in his position. A great play from, I believe it was Sen, taking down the EVL medic right at the end.
Yeah, that mid was blown up again by Badonsky. They had 3 players that never came up to mid again because their demo is so far forward and nobody's doing anything about him. But the consolation prize is they did kill Dingo there. We do see the regular forward hold here, the tried and true method of slowing the other team down. You're going to see them hold this for a while, at least until they get Uber or somebody dies. One of those 2 things will break the hold.
Yeah, we're just going to be waiting here for an Uber. I don't think there's going to be any sort of aggression in this point of the game, but I think Rat's going to be forced to be pushed back into their last. Just a matter of time here. Badonsky's pushing through the battlements area, doing a lot of damage to Zilly, a fair amount to Delpo as well. And Rando's going to be joining him, pushing this top right battlements area. Rando exchanging some rockets with Zilly, but Zilly getting the better of him. Rando very hurt, jumping away with 3 health. If Zilly were able to get that pick, they would have been able to make a play. They get a kill onto Rakuso, and Sen is very hurt as well. Slemnish pushing forward, getting arrowed by his medic, and that's going to clear the forward hold of Rat.
Yeah, they actually hung on there. It's pretty rare to see that the team just stay up there, but I guess they figured it was going pretty well. They did trade out Rakuso, and it didn't punish them because he's already alive again. So it looks like we are going with the Sniper Pyro defense. We'll see how EVL chooses to try to break this. or if there's a suicide that comes in. There is a scout in on the lower, and he's going to kill Rakuso. So there's that. Yomps throwing down the all caps LOL.
Yeah, and he got out alive, which is going to allow his roamer to go in on a free sack play. Garbuglio pushing this lower right side, but as I say that, they're just going to push with an one player advantage on even Ubers. Zilly doing a lot of damage for Rat. Rando jumping around, trying to get out. He actually kills Delpo, turns around and kills Sen, and then shotguns Zilly down. Rando with a sliver of health gets a 3K and secures the round for his team. I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah, he was just floating around. He got thrown to the ground when the rocket got shot into the ceiling, and then he just killed everybody with
That
his
is
like 20
unreal.
health.
He was in the deep red. A rocket just whizzed by his head, and he took that half a second of extra life he had to get a 3K, and that is putting EVL up 2-1 here on this first map. Scissor taking a ton of damage from Badonsky, and Van is getting rushed by Yomps once again, taking out the Rat medic. Delpo jumping across the point, trying to get aggressive onto Dingo. They're selling out for Dingo here. It's a matter of if they can get it. Sen swinging away. Dingo bleeds to death, and they do get the medic, but they lose the mid. EVL wins their second mid in a row.
Yeah, that bleed damage from the Rats was just enough to make it. But again, that's another mid where Badonsky's just standing on the point, shooting whoever he wants, and nobody's really making him move. And that time there was a double scout rush underneath, because interestingly enough, we went back to the old classic strat of having Zilly come out of the house.
It looks like
there's
Rat
even
wants
going to
to
be a
defend
fight
this.
out here.
Yeah, both scouts charge the point. They get 2 frags in exchange for their medic, their soldier and scout. And they're going to be holding in this trash area. They are down 1 player with Scissor getting taken out by some nice stickies from Badonsky, and that's going to back up Rat all the way to their last. Van has no one to heal right now, and it looks like Dingo's going to have a slight Uber advantage to work with. It's a matter of if he knows it or not.
Yeah, the bright side of a mistake like that is the other team's probably going to assume you are healing the whole time. They do have Sen on the ring, but Scout touches it, just runs in uncontested. Nobody's paying attention to him down there. He might get another kill. Delpo's really hurt.
Yomps doing so much damage to Delpo and Rakuso, and he's still alive. Does this guy have unlimited ammo? He kills Scissors as well, and he's still alive. His scout buddy Slemish goes in, gets the heavy, and is putting a lot of pressure on the point. It's just Delpo and Van. They Uber to defend the point. Is it enough? They need their respawns. They got 5 seconds. Rakuso just spawned. Badonsky under a lot of pressure behind the point. He goes down. Yomps is still alive, getting more frags, takes the medic out. And this might be going towards EVL. As I say that, the respawns are here. Both Sen and Scissor are chasing Dingo out of the lobby, and they might be overextending as Rando saves his medic's life. And he might be able to get both scouts. He does. Zilly really wants to kill Rando, but it's just not enough. Slemnish and Rando saving each other's lives as Slemnish runs onto the point. Van trying to defend it, but that is just not enough. EVL takes it 3-1.
A really unfortunate turn of events there to open that shutter door and see Rando standing there. It was a really good play, though, from Van to stand on the point while Uber and Delpo just threw a sticky carpet down. They held that very well when it looked like it was going incredibly poorly, but they ended up shooting themselves in the foot afterwards.
Yeah, Rat needs to make some adjustments. I'm looking at Yomps here. He's making the early plays in these mids. Again, he's going underneath the point and causing a lot of pressure. As I say that, Rakuso jumps on top of Dingo. Dingo avoiding all damage, just dancing around underneath the point as the rest of his team just cleans up Rat. And this is the cleanest mid victory we've seen so far this matchup.
Yeah, the Rats are flabbergasted at these mids. They are getting damaged very early. And whatever it is they're trying to do, it's not happening for them. And they need to figure out how to lock down this lower left door for their last hold so the Yomps doesn't get in.
Oh, a crazy sticky trap. I think that was a blind that kills the medic of EVL. I don't know if that was a debt or just a bomb. I missed it completely, but Dingo is down. Van is going to have that full Uber advantage as the rest of EVL is getting cleaned up here. The only remaining player alive is Badonsky in the choke here.
Podolski's gonna get Rakuso with his trap from choke, and then try and get something else done here. They may keep
Yomps
going.
on Spy.
Yeah, Yomp's Spy is in and behind the med, using the Dead Ringer, it sounds like.
Oh my god, he gets the stab. Delpo saves his own life, but not before his medic gets dropped. Zilly in on Dingo. Delpo's trying to sell out to get the enemy medic as well, and once again, EVL reacting to the plays of Rat and just not having any of it, putting themselves in another position to secure another round.
Yeah, they are. It's very strong right now as well, because Delpo will not be alive again for quite some time. Demo's pretty much your best defensive class, so they're going to try to get in here. They know there are no forward traps, although one is being put up now on the point.
Garbuglio switching to the Cowmangler, charging up that shot and setting some people on fire. Scissor is on Sniper, trying to get that opening pick, and there it is, dropping Dingo. The rest of his team is committed on the last point as they're trying to get out. And Zilly picks up Podolski as well. Yomps taking it into his own hands as well with Garbuglio. They're pushing this bottom right side. They get a frag, and it's traded off. Bull Scouts in this lower right area. They take down Rakuso, and they're pushing in. They get Van. There's some pressure on the point, but everybody on EVL is down. Scissor and Delpo do survive, but they pick off Van.
And Dingo is still running around trying to get a cheeky arrow kill as well. He's going to eventually make it out to the Gray Bridge area. That'll be a reset, I imagine, because Uber Advantage will go for EVL, so they get another try at it. But the forward hold looks like that'll be the play for the Rats. They want to try and hang in this as much as they can. You don't really want to go down any more rounds than they are, although there is plenty of time left.
Yeah, as EVL is going to be breaking through this forward hold. This is the semifinals of the FACEIT tournament. Winner of this best of 3 goes to the finals, and I think they lost their pocket, so they're going to have to be delayed. So nice sticky trap from Delpo, delaying EVL's push and giving his medic a little bit of time to get back that Uber.
Yeah, Van really needs this delay here to get the Uber, and then maybe they can do something, cause EVL to make a little mistake with how they cross over into this upper area here. There's Yomps. They're sending him in. He's really hurt straight away, so that'll call that off most likely.
Yomps has been making plays left and right throughout this game. I imagine they're just going to keep sending him in with a full 185. He's been consistently getting a pick and then getting out in these last push situations, and now it's even Uber. I'm expecting the same situation. Yomps going in and making a play for his team.
Yep, we'll see what they decide to do. They may try to use that Cowmangler thing that they did last time, which was pretty cool, I'll admit, to try and get some kind of distraction play going. There is the Pyro Sniper defense on the other side, though. They did kill the medic last time.
Well, here goes Yomps. He's through the lower right area. Once again, he's getting some pressure on the point. He gets completely mulched by both soldiers. It looked like he was just aiming to get some cap time before switching off to a different class. As I say that, Zilly wants to go in on the countersec. Gets a lot of damage into the enemy medic, but is unfortunate. Unable to get that pop. They're going to just pop right in. 5v5 even Ubers. Rando jumps the right side, goes to the left. Delpo is popped on much later. Van is going to have a much longer Uber to work with here. But as I say that, Rakuso goes down. Sen takes down Rando and sets Yomps on fire. Back on the last point, Garbuglio is in a great position to do a lot of damage. He needs his team to get on the point. He takes the matters into his own hands, drops right down, shoots the ground a few times, and secures the 4th round for EVL.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing there of getting a good, the good force attempt off with Zilly is they still had the Pyro and the Sniper there for the start of that push. And afterwards, they still had the Pyro, so their firepower relative to EVL was pretty low. And they weren't able to get enough kills.
Well, we got 12 minutes on the clock. Can Rat bring it back? They need to get 3 more rounds, and Podolski doing so much damage, taking down Scissor across the map. It looks like Rat is selling out to do damage to Dingo. They're not going to take him down just yet. Zilly goes down. Rakuso, the last player alive, just kind of spamming some rockets, trying to find a cheeky hiding place in the enemy house, but that's not going to happen. Dingo survives. EVL wins the mid, and they're going to have Uber advantage pushing last once again. And Podolski's already in on last. Look at him.
Yeah, and he gets a kill on Sen, trapping up that door. Badonsky is feeling himself at this time. He's got 11 health, kills Scissor as well on the sniper.
Oh,
He's just having, oh, he finally dies, but Rando is gonna get Zilly. And I think they're just gonna go straight in the old European style Uber here through the lower door.
yeah, they have that player advantage, even though the rest of their team isn't really on last just yet. Rando trying to jump up on top of the point, getting owned by some clipping at the edge of the point, not able to rocket jump. Rakuso does go down to both EVL scouts. I'm sure Yamps wants us to say Ascent, but we're not going to say Ascent, Yamps. I'm sorry, man. As he mulches the last two players for Rat, and EVL goes up 5-1. I think this is pretty much GG at this point. There is a 5-round mercy rule, so if EVL wins the next round, it is over.
Yeah, and the way mids have been going for the Rats, at least here on Badlands, I think they're pretty much over it. They are ready to go on to the next map because Badonsky is probably going to be right in his little perch again. There he is, standing on the point, doing tons of damage.
Yeah, he's doing so much damage. Delpo's already half health. Vand is forced to heal him as Badonsky is just relentless with his damage. Zilly is selling out once again. It looks like these soldiers just really want to kill Dingo early on in these mids, and it's just not happening. While I say that, Dingo's kind of out on an island by himself. The rest of EVL is just pushing forward and destroying the remaining Rat players stuck in Valley. And even without heals, EVL is just storming these mids and just winning them more and more convincingly as time goes on.
Yeah, Badonsky cannot be allowed to do whatever he wants to do. He is too good of a player, and you will lose games if you don't pay attention to him. They go for the cheeky Zilly spy play. They also have Scissor Sniper here, but I don't see anything coming out yet. Scissor's gonna get crushed by Yomps on the stairs, and we'll see what they decide to do here now. Probably just push in. Yep.
Yeah, Rando on Spy, they send their scouts in, Yamps gets killed, they do get banned with the Slemnish frag. Slemnish gonna get another frag before going down. Delpo is the only remaining player. He's gonna have to do a hero play here. Scissor back up on Sniper, he throws a Drati on the point and swats Garbuglio down, and then I believe that was a no-scope on to Dingo. The last player in is Yamps. He's all by himself. I think he can 1v2. I think he's capable of it, but as I say that, 3 Rat players spawn up, so he's forced to hide here in this lobby area. Can he take down Sen? He does. He's trying to dipsy doodle around. He's unable to get a second frag, but he does get a decent frag onto Sen. And
yeah,
Rando
is on Spy, just standing in the corner here. He's going to be forced to ambi because his teammate sells him out. And now there's a butter knife fight, but he's bleeding to death.
No.
He is going to get him and taunt.
He's using the Eternal Reward as well, so he couldn't disguise. So that's pretty much the best possible scenario for Rando, getting that butter knife kill on to Zilly, who is now playing Scout. As I say that, Yamps goes in through the lower right area, gets a frag, and he should be able to secure the round. It looks like he wants to get frags, but Sen now on that DH soldier, one-shots Yamps, and it looks like the players are up to some shenanigans right now, not wanting this first map to end.
Yeah, they're just, they're getting all of the off-classing and shenanigans out of their system for the time being to have a little cool down before the next game here. It's just Delpo defending last right now. He does get a spawn in Rakuso, who has come up Scout, and we'll see what's going on now. Rakuso's going to get another frag, and Sen's going to kill Badonsky, but it's not going to matter. They're going to cap that out and win at long last. So there's 6-1 for EVL. The rejects were quite rejected on Badlands.
Yeah, I want to take
hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah, so what's the next map again, Marxist? I actually have the log here. Let me look. It is Gully next. But looking back on this map, Rat came out, won the first round fairly convincingly, and then just got rolled the rest of the game. I don't know if it's going to be a repeat on Gully Wash, but for the sake of entertainment purposes, hopefully Rat can pull their act together and win the second map of this first best of 3.
Yeah, they just were not. I think they were afraid enough of EVL scouts that they were just not really worried about Badonsky. They were going for the scouts early, and then that didn't work out, so then they decided to just try to kill Dingo every mid. and Dingo just hid clear in the back, and you never could get to him because there were too many other players in the way. So they're going to have to figure out mids because, interestingly enough, if our next match is on Gully Wash's mid and Badlands mid are pretty similar. They're not like identical by any means, but they play out the same way. And if Badonsky can just stand near the middle of the point shooting wherever he wants, it will not go well.
Yeah, everybody on EVL statistically performed very well, kind of all over the place on Rat. But hopefully for FACEIT they can bring it back. I think if EVL kind of feels cocky, they might throw. They might throw. I don't know. I don't really understand the spy play at the end there. I know the victory is pretty much secured, but you might as well finish it. You know, maybe they'll bring it to this map and it might bite them in the butt.
Well, my assumption on Rando's spy play, at least, is he thought, haha, I'm gonna go spy and backcap them, and then he didn't realize that at some point in the past he had messed around with the eternal reward and just not even thought to check it.
Well, to be fair, he did switch to spy when his team won mid with their medic surviving while killing the other medics, so they had full Uber advantage and he went spy anyway. But yeah, the plan could have still been haha, backcap, but in that scenario, usually a backcap's not what you're going for, especially when your team has full advantage. But we have seen, at least last season, Ronin busting out the troll strats on this very map versus Froyo Black. And it worked. They ran Mela Spy to mid like 4 or 5 times, and it worked most of the time. So maybe Rando trying to get a piece of that spy action.
Yeah, maybe it's in their secret book of strats. The heavy to mid on this map actually works pretty well. I would not suggest trying to use it against EVL, but you can do it. And there's also sniper to mid strats are pretty common. Sen did pretty well as sniper, honestly, in the last game for the points in which he was sniper. So we may see that get broke out, particularly if the first 2 rounds go straight to EVL. We'll probably see the shenanigans start to break out here.
Yeah, even despite the shenanigans, there is a prize pool on the line, so I think they're not gonna, for their sake, they probably shouldn't bust them out until they got the map secure. But I think we might be getting ahead of ourselves, despite Rat kind of getting handled in the second half of that first map. They did come out pretty strong. They got around on the board. I think they just need to slow the game down and kind of contain Yomps early on in these mids. And Badonsky, obviously.
I would be perfectly happy to allow Yomps to kill most of my team, but you cannot allow Badonsky to prevent players from getting to mid. Because when a demo does that to your team, he's saying to you, I feel absolutely no pressure. Because they wouldn't do that if they were afraid that they were going to die. They would hide. They would play much more conservatively in that situation, but he was absolutely certain that no one was going to come at him. And he was right. 5 mids in a row.
Yeah, the Rat mids haven't been too focused, it seems. It seems like they're kind of trying to sell out for Dingo, but they weren't able to kill Dingo for roughly like 3 rounds straight, at least on those mids. And I think they need to just focus Badonsky, like you were saying, and not give him that room, give him that confidence to control these mids.
Yep. I was used to talk about how Badonsky was probably the best demo in Invite, and I don't think that's really changed a whole lot. And even after the nerf, which was, like a year and some ago, Badonsky's aim is still good enough that he pretty much didn't really notice a decline in his performance.
Yeah, and the nerf you're referring to, I believe, is the sticky bomb radius nerf. They made it much smaller, so you have to be much more precise with those stickies in order to do the fat damage. But like you said, it doesn't seem to be affecting Badonsky. His aim is on point, and as we're talking here, we have the ready noise And we should be on our way. Can Rat bring this to the third map?
Yeah, which would be Sunshine. So Rat's gotta shake things up here. They had a little bit of time to talk about how to fix this train wreck before it gets started. And we'll see what they decide to do here at mid. Hopefully, it's much cleaner.
Yeah, all eyes on Badonsky. He's taking a little bit of damage from some pistols. And Zilly is opting to go towards drop down. Garbulia on the other side of the map. Rando flying high in the sky. Scissor takes him down. Rakusa goes down as well. Zilly under a lot of pressure from Slemnish. A nice arrow from Dingo to save his medic's life. On the other side of the map, Delpo is on the floor, very hurt with Sen. Delpo goes down. Sen alive, and wow, Yamps tracking him, taking him down. Scissor, the only remaining survivor, and he's probably going to actually switch off to Sniper or Engie to help defend this last point.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got a Rakuso spy going out straight away. This does happen from time to time. Usually the circumstances are a little more desperate, but Gullywash has enough little nooks and crannies in this lobby, and the medic usually comes down some way or another, so you can usually just hop on him real quick.
And Rakuso, last season when he was on Running with Scissors, made a ton of spy plays. He's opting to back off into spawn, switch back to his roamer position. They have that sentry gun set up on the left side. Badonsky doing a lot of damage to it, getting launched back. They do get Slemnish, they do get Yamps. Delpo, excuse me, Sen on that pipe doing so much damage is heavy, completely unaccounted for, and this push for EVL is going to get halted completely, losing their medic in the process.
Yep, a really good defense. Who says you need to have Uber in order to win a last hold? They did it quite well.
Garbuglio hiding on the rafter of the upper area. I've never seen someone sit there. He jumps onto Van and loses his life. A pretty cheeky play to get that medic force / pick, but it doesn't work out for him. And Rat back in this round. Rando being a little sneaky, walking up here, trying to hit some rockets onto Van. He hits one. He needs the air shot. Van surfs onto the point. An arrow just whizzes by his head, and they're going to be able to take mid. Van milking away, retaining that Uber advantage.
Yeah, that would have been a huge kill for Dingo. One of the few times where you're going to say the med getting a pick would be massive, but they're going to Uber straight in. Zilly's going to die somewhere else. They're still trying to get this to happen. Scissors going in. Dingo gets down to 12 health, but unfortunately doesn't die. And that's going to be a second cap, but they're going to be under pressure.
Yeah, Yamps and Garbuglio wreaking havoc behind that Uber, completely stuffing their push. And I'm surprised they were able to get out cleanly, Rat. But they do. Dingo getting his Uber. He has a bit of an advantage. Zilly at the drop down. He's going to be face to face with Garbuglio. Garbuglio takes him out, opening up this mid for his team, and they're going to be able to take mid cleanly. Van, in all intents and purposes, should be able to get his Uber to defend this second point. But
yeah, they're
EVL
trying to do the quick cycle here, though. They're in right now, trying to track down that med. They're on him right now. He's going to drop, and Rando's going to get two more. Well, one more at least. And that will be the end of the rejects, except for Zilly. Zilly's going to have to try and... No! Yamps is going to wipe him out. And that's going to be a free cap. No one's going to be even alive for that.
Yeah, EVL had such a good read on the Uber charge count, knowing that Van was approaching his Uber, and they had to act quick and make a play, and they sent Rando in with their own Uber and took down a pair of players, one of them being Van, and that secured them that first round. Is this going to be another roll here, Marxist?
Well, their mid was slightly better. They got up there this last time as Rats. We'll see how they do. They're getting shut down by Badonsky, but he's pressured a little bit.
While Van getting popped up, runs through the window. There's a fight in this lower area. Yamps and Zilly trading shots. Rando on the ground as well. He's waiting to jump here. I think he screwed up his jump, but he's still going to get a frag. Rando still in this lower area with his scout buddy. Yamps, Sen pressuring Dingo. Delpo jumping down and sticky pipe comboing down the enemy medic and salvaging that mid for his team. But again, EVL is still winning the mids despite losing their medic.
The demo flying over you and that iron bomber sound is really scary as medic, because they just come out so fast and you don't know where anything is necessarily if you didn't see the demo jump. And we'll see how they choose to hold this. Slemnish is on Sniper right now. They're going to get Garbuglio at Choke. And we'll see what's happening now. Zilly is going under the drop down. Going to try to make a play, I think.
Yeah, that Delpo play is allowing Rat to push into mid with a slight advantage. Zilly clearing some space for his team, but Rando's not biting. He's standing his ground, gets a frag onto Zilly. Yomp surfing around. Seems like neither team wants to give up mid, but Rando is just farming Rat right now. Sen going in, losing his life, and EVL is going to retain mid and even up these Ubers. They have a huge player advantage, so they're going to be able to take this into the second point.
Yep, they are going to grab that fairly easily. On the bright side, Van is still alive, but there are players in here trying to ruin his day, but he's still got Uber. They're gonna pop in straight away, but they've got a surprise, and it's an Uber. Garbuglio gets air shot and bounced into that little beam over top. The sticky trap is right there, and that's running underneath it. Thankfully, doesn't get deaded and annihilated. We'll see if it's still there. They're still looking at it. It's gone now. But Scissor is going to die, so only a one-player advantage.
Yeah, both Rat soldiers are pushing up top, pressuring Rando. Sen is in behind, 1v1ing Slemnish and losing it. Badonsky helping his scout buddy, taking him down. Rakuso's in, takes down Badonsky. Slemnish trades off the frag, and Slemnish wants to go in deep. It's just Scissor and Van defending this last point. Rando and Garbuglio coming in over the top, right onto the point, shooting the ground a few times, and securing the second round for EVL.
Yeah, we did see the Rakuso shotgun roamer there. He did get a shotgun kill. So at least there's that. But the Rats have got to fix these mids. There's not any way that they're just slower than EVL to get up there. They're just not doing the right things.
They're not doing the right things. They need to do the right things. Can they do the right thing here? Sen already on the point. Rando right above him, shooting some rockets down, hits both, takes down Sen, and Zilly battling Garbuglio, trading in the lower area. Scissor contesting the point against both scouts. Rakuso getting pushed down. Yomp's getting launched across the map by Scissor, who stood his ground the whole mid, and that's going to help his team win that mid. Dingo and Badonsky surviving, so the Ubers are going to be relatively even. But this is the first mid-win we've seen in a while from Rat.
Yep, well, EVL's team is mostly hanging back. They have like a scout move up. And that's basically all that's there besides the Badonsky pressure. So they got up there and moved forward, pushed Badonsky back, and everything worked out.
Oh wow, Rando very hurt as Dingo pops on him. Dingo's getting disconnected. Rando really wants that kill onto Van. Van milking away. Rando's gonna lose his life, but he does force the enemy Uber, and I don't know how much they're gonna get out of it. Delpo getting very aggressive, hits two crispy clean pipes onto Badonsky, takes him out, and is securing the upper area for his team. No demo alive for EVL, and that means Rat is gonna push. Scissor already pressuring the point. Both scouts taking down Rakuso. Scissor still alive, doing so much damage. Some potty on the point right on top of Dingo. Delpo takes down Dingo and stays in the lower area. Sen is still alive in the back end. Delpo trying to get out, but he's just gonna use his DM. Is Delpo actually gonna go for the last point here? Badonsky's got a read on him. And Delpo takes down Slemnish. Delpo is farming right now. He's still alive, being such a nuisance and delaying EVL's push out of last.
Yeah, well, and it was both scouts that went back to deal with him of all things. So those are your point cappers, and if they're not going out to second, you're not going to cap this.
Ooh, Zilly on Spy. They're probably going to have to sell out to defend this last point if Zilly gets in behind. A nice air shot onto Rakuso from Rando. Rando secures his own frag onto Rakuso, saving his medic, and Zilly is still alive, but I think he's spotted judging by how much health he has left, so Rat is going to be down a player for a bit here. Scissor goes down, make that to Delpo, very aggressive, hits some nice stickies onto Rando, and he's charging forward with Sen and Van. They're trying to push Dingo and Slemnish out of choke. They successfully do that as Zilly is still in behind. Can Zilly make the play for his team?
He's going to manage to cross out of the shutter door for a second, see where they are. And there are spawning players behind him now, so he's got to be careful about that. Oh, he bumps into Garbuglio. Well, that ended that.
Yeah, Zilly being a sneaky snake, but despite everything, it did delay EVL's push a little bit. They do have Uber advantage. Dingo did stay alive in that transaction, so they're going to be using that advantage to push into mid. Scissor getting locked out by Badonsky and hitting a nice pipe onto Rakuso. He needs some help. He gets an arrow from Dingo, and Garbuglio secures the frag, and they get mid cleanly. Dingo retaining that Uber advantage as they head on to second.
Yeah, and Badonsky's putting a lot of pressure down there, but Delpo's gonna kill him. Nice play there. They're gonna get Garbuglio as well. There is an Uber on top of this point from Dingo. We'll see if they manage to force it. There it goes. So mission accomplished. Now you just need to get away from the invincible people.
Oh man, they lose a player as Van pops. Delpo doing a lot of damage here, Scissor cleaning it up, but they're not going to be able to defend this second point. They might be overextended here. They need to get the heck out to their last point, which they are doing. Dingo's going to have a small advantage. If he builds it, he can make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and we got Zilly on Sniper running around trying to get a kill. Slemnish actually really hurt right now. Garbuglio's having a heck of a time trying to play Secret Collect with that health pack. Never gets it, dies. And Badonsky's trying to hold down River by himself. He's the only player left in lobby.
Yeah, and he's staying aggressive. He doesn't want to give up this upper lobby, and Zilly wants to contest him on that sniper. And I have to say here, Marxist, both demo men are playing fantastic in this
well, actually,
map.
Rakuso is in behind on the med right now, and Dingo's gonna slide up the rock and foil a really nice suicide attempt there from Rakuso.
Yeah, I thought I had a moment to like pull things back and get some perspective on the game, but this is just non-stop action so far. Badonsky pushing this Riverside, takes down Zilly, who surfs to his own death. They're going to have a player advantage to work with, 2 players, as they make that, they even it up. It's still 2. Badonsky under the point, fighting Scissor, and all of the rest of Rat are just piled up on the point. They just need some spam. Badonsky under the point at a bad angle, but still gets a frag. EVL up 3-0. Despite a weird push, they still make it happen.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, their secret heavy on the pipe was accounted for this time, and they did not have quite as good of a last defense as they did the last time that we saw that hold work. But at least there's progress. They're doing better.
Yeah, let's see who gets the better of the demo transaction early on. Neither demo connecting anything onto each other. Badonsky doing a fair amount of damage to the Rat squad coming in through Big Door. Rakusa comes over the top and secures a frag onto Garbuglio. He gets traded off by Slemnish. Scissor, again, so much point presence with Sen. They're not really giving up. Both teams just opting to stay on their own sides as they jump back and forth. Finally, Slemnish gets a frag, make that 2, make that 3. Slemnish and Yamp securing 4 frags late in that mid and winning it for EVL. And that's a very late death on Van. I don't know if they're going to be able to defend their last.
Yeah, there are a lot of players that are not going to be around. This Uber is marching through very fast. And I think they're already here. Yep, there they are. So they may go right now. The Girardi might hold them up. Oh, they're going to go for the magical world strat, truk, and they are going to be under.
Yeah, they are spotted out by Sen. Rando taking his time on this frag on Sen, and Sen actually forced the Uber out of Dingo. This is what they need. Rando in a very precarious position. Dingo dies to a sticky trap from Delpo, who blinded him. Rando just standing there shooting rockets. Van needing to throw himself onto the point. Wow, that was a very sloppy push again, and it still worked out.
Yeah, unlike when TLR did it and ended up getting backcapped and trapped underneath forever, EVL manages to pull a win out of it. So unfortunately for the Rats, it looks like their ride may be ending here with 7 minutes left, down by 4, but at least they've given us a good show some of the time.
Well, you can't count them out just yet. We still have, I mean, we only have 7 minutes left, you're right. But let's see if they can secure a round. Delpo and Scissor getting early frags. Zilly in behind with Rakuso. Slemnish and Badonsky, very low health, defend themselves and take out the 2 Rat players. But Van and Sen in a very precarious position. They do have heals to work with, but it's still 2v3. Van getting so much damage put into him. Sen getting focus fire down, and Garbuglio spawning up, helping his team secure the last frag onto Van, and EVL is going to win another mid.
Yep, and that will probably be the kiss of death here for the Rats. They ended up losing their med in that super late as well. There are players behind them right now. That's actually Rando just shotgunning for his life. Podonsky's going to end up picking up the frag.
Man, the Girardi combo is hilarious, and Scissor has executed a couple times so far this matchup, taking down Badonsky. EVL staying strong with Dingo at half health. Zilly wants to snipe him down with a direct hit. He hits one shot, unable to finish his own damage off. Dingo's super hurt, but so many Rat players are just selling out here. Sen using the force of nature, not working out. Yomps getting a pair of frags. Slemnish going down to some stickies of Delpo, but Yomps getting right onto the point and ending this first best of 3. They are the first team in the grand finals of this FACEIT tournament.
Yeah, well, we know who our first team is, and it's EVL. Now, the next match we're going to bring you here after. I don't know how that is set up.
I got messaged by Corn Pop here, and he said, after this game, throw it to a break, but before that, let's go to the bracket here and let you know what the matchup is going to be. I believe it is Froyotech versus Bird Noises, so you're not going to want to miss that. We'll probably be gone for a few minutes here, set up that next game, and get this show on the road. Any final words here, Marxist?
Just a reminder of what's going on here. So EVL is in the championship here. They beat the Rats 2-0. And then we're going to have your next match will be Bird Noises Froyo. And I believe that you're going to be taking a break for that truk, and they're going to bring in Corn Pop here. So it'll be me and Corn Pop. And still Sam, I believe, on the camera for your next match, which should be coming down shortly.
Yeah, we'll be right back and bring you that game. So we'll see you in a bit.